Okay, our next speaker is a good old friend of mine. His name is Doug Dane, and he's an author and mentor who knows you want to be the leader everyone wants to follow. In order to become a great leader, you need to lead yourself. The problem is you lack self-confidence or you don't believe in yourself, and people notice. Most leaders spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on training and never realize that most of the problems for people's effectiveness can be traced back to a lack of confidence in themselves. Doug understands what it's like to doubt yourself. That's why he's helped thousands of professionals increase their confidence using his formula for leaders. Karen and Doug have a wonderful history together and first connected in Canada back in her early days of PGI and are still in close connection today. So please welcome Doug Dane. Come on down.
Hello, Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Man, oh man, I was thinking I saw Brian on earlier with a tie on and Tommy with a tie on. I'm thinking Bob would be giving me a hard time right now because I'm not wearing a tie, but
Come on.
I had to deal with Bob a little while ago that I'm not wearing ties anymore. So
We love that. That's okay. You wore enough ties in our other life, right?
that's right. That's
Enough
right.
sisters.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be a very special conversation, a short one, and I hope that you'll come back and we can spend some more time looking at this. But this concept of a mistaken identity, I just love it. You released a book earlier in the year about it. We're going to put the link in the chat for everybody. But tell us about this concept of a mistaken identity and how to know if you have one.
Well, listen, I think pretty much everybody I've talked to definitely has a mistaken identity. If you doubt yourself, if you don't like yourself, if you have an inferiority complex, if you don't think you're good enough, or you don't think you're worth loving, if you have a failure type personality, if you're insecure, then you have a mistaken identity. And so basically, these words came to me about 8 years ago because I was trying to break through from my own insecurities and doubt from a very brutal childhood and upbringing, which resulted in a lot of suffering and struggles and mistakes in my life, just trying to get it right. And
you
I was
share that
studying
in the
everything
book very powerfully as well.
Yeah. The book. I use my story in each chapter to kind of make a point and I guess get leverage to get you to pay attention to what I'm attempting to change your mind about. But basically, I mean, it's real simple. All of us, we arrived here and we had these, once the adults knew they had our attention, they just started drilling in rules, values, beliefs, biases, prejudices. And if you didn't follow the rules and the values and you didn't get it right, then you got in trouble. You got punished or criticized or teased. In my case, I got hit. And you were judged at a very early age. And you learned to judge yourself. And you took that on. And very early on, you began second guessing yourself in many areas of your life. Some, in a lot of cases, very severely. I mean, 60% of adults have gone through what I went through, which is adverse childhood experiences, emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, neglect. And the other 40% who didn't go through that kind of severe trauma, still suffered to some degree because, God bless the parents, but they didn't know who you were. All they knew was thought they had a mistaken identity and they had rules, values, bias, and prejudice all drilled into them, and it's generational and it's repetitive. And so if you just have been doubting yourself or feeling off track, or worse, thinking there's something wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with you. What's wrong is what you believe. What's wrong is the way that you were treated. What's wrong is maybe some of the things or some of the people that you're following. We have this mistaken beliefs about ourselves and about the world and about information, and if you feel off track, it's not that you're off track, you're just on the wrong track. That's all.
You're so good, Doug. I've never heard you say it like this before, but we've learned to judge ourselves. That is so powerful. What is a limiting belief, or in your experience, like a judgment or a limiting belief that most people carry with themselves that might be holding them back from greater success or elevating their life?
Yeah, well, there's a few things that the adults drilled into you. They would have said, "What the hell's wrong with you?" That was one of them. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's another one. It just there was these statements that were made, and because of all this, and listen, forgive the parents, but they were judged too, and it's just something you learn to do. I love what Brian was talking about. One of the best ways to undo judgment is to stop judging others, and you'll stop judging yourself.
Mm.
And so they would drill those things into us. I was on a call today talking with somebody. They were talking about how they feel guilty and ashamed. I said, you should not feel guilty or ashamed. Those are temporary emotions that are useful in the moment if there's been some wrong or impropriety. Beyond that, you should not be carrying around guilt or shame. So those are a couple things. And the biggest one in the book I talk about a lot is, because I think most people ask themselves, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I figure this out? Why can't I do what Karen's doing? Why can't I be successful? Why can't I? What's wrong with me? And you never get an answer. You never get an answer to that question because there's nothing wrong with you. The key is stop trying to fix yourself. The key is to be yourself. That's a lot easier.
So good. I love this. So how do we disrupt these beliefs and begin to create a new world? How do we shake ourselves up and get ourselves out of that and start creating something new?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One is you have to have some awareness that you're off track. I think you've got to take a little bit of an inventory, do what I call a blameless autopsy, and take a bit of an inventory on what it is that you believe. Take inventory on your strengths and your weaknesses. I mean, people will tell you that you can be anybody you want to be. That's not true. You can only be who you are within the confines of your gifts and talents and abilities, although a lot of us are mistaken about what we do have in that case. But I think the second part is then deciding, and I just try to drill this into people's head and hammer it home. If you're feeling off track, again, it's not you, it's just things that you believe are off track that caused you to get you on the wrong track. And so you gotta stop and take a look at that. You can't, it's all belief, Karen, and you can't change your beliefs unless you're prepared to evaluate them. But in our today's society, and I was doing the same thing, we like holding on to our victim mentality. It's very convenient, and but eventually you're going to get sick of yourself and get fed up with yourself. And so I think you just got to stop and take a look and evaluate your situation and your beliefs and how you see yourself. Look at what you really want to do, how you want to live or what motivates you, you're passionate about. And then all you got to look at that, and, all right, well, what beliefs do I have that are contradictory to what I'd like to do? Evaluate that. And
that's something we should be doing at every level, right? Every level of success, we sit down and do this.
Yeah, because listen, I heard somebody talk about imposter syndrome. One of the chapters of the book is called "You're an Imitation," because you imitated the adults and you've been brought up to kind of feel like an imposter. And so we do have to evaluate kind of every area of our lives. Like we're like sheeple, we just kind of follow everybody. We're so habitual. And we just kind of go along and we scroll through our phones and we get sick and we make mistakes and we just never really ask any questions. And we just have to, I guess luckily for me, I've always been inquisitive and earnest to understand. And I think that's what got me to survive what I went through, but also to thrive from what I went through. And I think we have to become more earnest.
I love that. Beautiful word. So tell us before we wrap up now, with the book, when you purchase the book, you've got a video series, yes? You've got a training program that goes with it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I kind of call it like a reading course. I wanted to, so the book is not a book to read. It's literally it's a process. It's a system. It's designed a certain way over 30 chapters, over 30 days. And I get you to take an action step each day. And so I put together a series of video lessons, instructional, to make sure you understand the key point of the chapter and how to apply it and how to take the action step. So we find the people that are going through the book, we give them a workbook and we give you the videos. If you buy the book, we give that to you for free.
Yeah,
And
that's
we
all they
find
have to
people
do.
are
Buy
doing
the
that.
book and they get everything else with it for free.
Yeah. If you get the book, if you go through my website to get the book, even if you don't, if
Yeah.
you buy it through Amazon or
Well, we're going to
wherever,
put
just
the
let
link
us
in the
know.
chat now to Doug's website to
Yeah.
go buy the book.
Yeah, and we'll give you the lessons, and I think that'll help you.
So good. Thank you so much, Doug. Will you come back and do another session with us a little bit longer on this topic another time?
I'd love to talk more about the truth about self-image.